to actually help your own future self achieve her or his own goals.
I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the specific domains in which gratitude helps because I just find these data is totally fascinating. So, in your book, you show that gratitude doesn't just help you on financial decision making; it can also help you, like in your job.
Yeah, it just depends what your job is. So, Adam Grant has this great data where he shows that people who are working in a call center talk about a thankless job. You're calling people up for fundraising, asking people to donate money. When gratitude is expressed in those offices, people's productivity goes up 50%. And not only do they work harder, but they're actually happy about it. They feel good about it. And so there's no stress there. When you're a doctor, right, if you're feeling gratitude, it makes you more willing to invest the effort to do the right thing. And so you're more willing, the data show, to engage in greater thought in terms of your diagnoses. And so gratitude in whatever the realm is that we're talking about, by giving you more patience, by giving you, nudging you, is going to improve the outcome. And while it's doing it, it's going to solve two other problems for you. And this is something else that I really want to talk about, is that it does it in a way that's better for your mind and your body, in terms of your physical health and your mental well-being.
And so, talk about the mental well being part because one of the things we're trying to do is to help people find strategies that can allow them to achieve their goals, but in doing so, can make them happy in the moment too.
Sure.
And that's really the amazing thing about gratitude is it doesn't just help you exercise more and save more. It feels good, unlike willpower.
That's right. So David Brooks likes to talk about that there are two types of virtues people have. Resume virtues, which are the virtues like being dogged, working hard, having grit, trying to get ahead. And eulogy virtues, things like being fair, being generous, being kind. And the eulogy virtues are the ones that ultimately we want to be remembered for. They're the ones that draw other people to us, that give us the relationships that help our lives. And so if we're pursuing our own success, whatever realm it might be, as I said, for millennia, the way to do that was to have good character, to be fair, be generous. It used to be that eulogy virtues and resume virtues were the same. There was no difference between them. But because of the way we structure our lives now, we can pursue success in a very atomistic manner. That is, we can just be dogged, and if we earn enough money, we can meet all of our needs. We don't have to have other people around us as much. But that leads to a not very fulfilling life. It's a very stressful existence. When you choose to pursue success by cultivating emotions like gratitude, by virtue of what you're doing, yes, it's going to give you the self-control to pursue your goals, to have patience, to persevere in the face of difficulty. But it's also going to change
Hi,
the
4 million
relationships.
viewers.
Gratitude, not only do we work harder, but we show more appreciation to others around us. It makes us behave more loyally. It makes
How
us
are you
behave more
guys?
compassionate toward other people. And so we build that social safety net that are there to buttress us. And so, when you look at gratitude, people who feel more gratitude, yes, they exercise more, yes, they save more, yes, they get ahead in life more. But they also sleep better at night. They also have better blood pressure. They show less stress reactivity than do people who don't experience gratitude more often. They even have better cholesterol. How and why these things are intertwined is an interesting story. It has to do with stress, and then do they
Don't
exercise
forget,
more because of
don't
that
forget to
gratitude,
thumbs up,
etc.
guys.
But gratitude really is a buffer. It helps
You
us
can send a
pursue our
message.
resume virtues and our eulogy virtues at the same time.
So striking about this, though, is that I think if you ask people, people often think those resume virtues and eulogy virtues are in conflict, right? Like, to boost up your resume, you got to, stop feeling for
Right.
your fellow man. And
That's right.
But it's just the opposite. So much of this podcast is about the idea that our minds are leading us astray, right? We have this bad intuition about what gratitude's going to do. Like, it makes us weak. It's going to make us help others rather than getting ahead in life.
Yeah. And part of that, right, is, I think our resume and our eulogy virtues, we think of them as distinct. But for most of our evolutionary history, they weren't. And we're kind of told that, the way to succeed is to be self-interested. But if you actually look at the data, it's not true. I think we're being sold a bill of goods. It is in the short term, right? The faster way is to kind of be self-interested. But in the long run, it is people who experience gratitude, who experience compassion and empathy, that do really, really well. You know, my friend Bob Franklin, economist at Yale, he wrote this great book called
Ano
Success and
dyan?
Luck, and he talks about the
Kumusta na
illusion that
kayo?
people
4
have
million
that the way
viewers.
that any of us succeeded was through our own self-determination. And I'm
Don't
not saying
forget
that doesn't matter. Of course it
to...
does. But there's a lot of luck
You
along the
can
way. And
submit
if you
guys
think
ah.
about what a lot of luck is it's not really luck. It's people opening doors for us. It's people supporting us in our hours of need and helping us out and us doing the same for them. Right? That's what a lot of luck is, not all.
Kapal ang buhok ko,
When
no?
people do that for us, we feel
Magpaano na
gratitude.
naman
And
ako?
when we feel gratitude, it makes us not only want to pay those people back, but to pay it forward to other people. So, for example, in our studies that we were talking about, we make people feel gratitude in the lab, and then they leave the lab thinking the experiment is over, and we have a stranger approach them who asks for help. They'll help the stranger too. And the reason why is when you feel gratitude, it makes you want to help someone else, right? The brain is nudging you that way because in the long term, that's a successful strategy. And so the beautiful thing about gratitude is it makes us pay it forward and it creates kind of an ongoing cycle. And so I think people often feel that gratitude can be a sign of weakness, but really gratitude is an emotion of power.
And so hopefully listeners are sold on this idea that becoming more grateful is a good thing. But then that raises the question, how do you do that? What can listeners do
Ay.
to improve their sense of gratitude?
One strategy is simply doing daily reflections, thinking for a few minutes about what it is that you're grateful for in life. Lots of people do gratitude diaries. The trick there, right, is we all have the two or three things that we're incredibly grateful for in our lives. But if you think about the same things over and over again, they're going to lose their power. You're going to habituate to it. It's going to become boring. And so
Thank you for the
think
thumbs
about
up.
little things. Think about the person who gave you their seat on the bus or the subway. Think about the person who gave you directions, who let you in on the
Don't
highway.
forget guys
Someone who held the
to
door for you. You might say,
check my
hey, really? Is
videos.
that going to
How are
work?
you?
It does. So, you know, I told you earlier about the way we induce gratitude in our lab, where we have these big shenanigans we go through where computers crash on people. But when we simply ask people, reflect on something in your life that you're grateful for, whether it's something somebody did for you, your parents, a friend, the universe, if you believe in God, whatever it might be, those simple reflections produce the same exact effects. And so it may sound trite, but it's not. Cultivating gratitude daily in your life. We'll do this through reflections. Another way is to engage in something called the reciprocity ring. This is great if you have an office and you're trying to create a culture of gratitude, or a classroom, or even for families at home. Have everybody take a post-it note and write on the post-it note something they need help with. Then on a board or on the refrigerator or wherever it might be, stick up those post-it notes in kind of a circle. Now everybody take a different color post-it note and write your name on it and go up and stick it next to a post-it note that's up there already where a person's requesting help. So you're saying, John says he needs help with this. I, Dave, am going to help him with this, right? And then what you do is draw lines or tie strings or tape, whatever you might be, and what you'll see is connections in this circle. And then most importantly, go give that assistance that you said. And what this does is a few things. One, it shows that asking for help is okay and offering to help is okay. And
Tap the
by
screen,
you actually helping the
guys.
person who you said you were going to help, that person feels gratitude. And what our research shows is when that person feels gratitude, it increases the probability very dramatically that they're just going to go and offer help to someone else. And it's a way of creating kind of a norm and a culture for gratitude in your family,
I mean,
in your
it's the
classroom, or in the workplace.
Have you used this in your lab or in your own family?
Yeah, before I started doing this research, I wouldn't say I wasn't an ungrateful person, but I don't think I thought a lot about gratitude in my life. But what I realized through doing this work is that you can curate your own emotional life, right? Emotions don't just happen to us. We
Hi to
can
Bibian
curate what
Flores.
we feel by
How are you,
taking time to
Bibian?
think about what we want to feel, by paying attention to the people that help us as opposed to the people that annoy us. And so what I've begun to do in my own daily life now is to do that, is to
Yan ba?
focus
Si
on
Bibian
when
bata pa.
somebody does something for me or someone helps me. And not say
Baby
thank you or
girl,
say
bakit
good and bye,
gising ka pa?
but to
Ay,
focus on it for a few minutes,
36
to
na pala.
curate
Akala ko naman
what I
anak
feel
mo.
are the most valuable moments in my experience as opposed to the ones that aren't. And what happens when you do that is it
Bakit yung
begins to
anak mo?
change the lens through which you
Post.
automatically view your life. So that suddenly gratitude gratitude isn't something that you're trying to
May
curate. It
positive
becomes a
yan.
lens that you pick out
Yan,
page
bigyan kita
after
ng cards,
page.
Bibian. Anong zodiac sign mo?
It becomes a habit in some ways. And the beautiful thing about gratitude is, as opposed to habits, is, if I have a habit to save money, that works for saving money. If I have a habit to study, that works for studying. But if I have a habit to experience gratitude, that's going to bleed over into making me better able to pursue my long-term goals in any realm. And I would, encourage
Wala.
your listeners to
Hindi mo
try
alam
to
yung zodiac
make
sign mo.
gratitude as a habit.
Kailan ba birthday mo?
After talking to Dave at
Kailan
great
birthday
lengths,
mo?
I've decided on a personal goal for this new decade. I'm going to stop sabotaging the future, Laurie. I'm going to stop assuming that willpower will save me. Instead, I'm going to harness the power of my moral emotions. I'm going to work harder to become a bit more grateful, starting now. So here goes. I'm so grateful that Dave and so many other scientists took time out of their
Mhm.
busy schedules to share these insights with us.
August ka
So,
pala.
so thankful that we all have a fresh start
Ayan.
to make a bunch of positive
Leo
changes
ka.
that we want to see in 2020. And I'm
Leo.
so grateful for you.
O, alam mo na ha,
For the
Leo
fun of
ka ha.
hosting
Anong
this
year?
podcast. And thank you for being a part of this journey to use science to live a little bit better. And finally, I'd be super grateful if you joined Future Laurie for our third bonus episode of the Happiness Lab 2020.
Bigyan kita ng cards.
Life sure doesn't come with a roadmap. But what if you had a guide? I'm Tamsin, and on the Tamsin Show,
Depressed
I'm
ka?
here to help you navigate midlife, menopause, career shifts,
Um,
and everything in
oh,
between. Pick a best
hindi mo
friend,
na
sit
mamanage yung
down
ano
with a
yung
session
iniisip
with
mo.
expert guests, real conversations, and
Ayan
actionable
ha, sa
advice.
card mo dito
This is a
sinasabi na
go-to
this is the Knight
podcast
of
for
Sword.
living better,
You
loving
are
stronger, and
confused.
taking charge of your well-being. Listen to the Tamsin
Hindi,
Show
siguro
wherever
mga
you get
siguro
your
plano to or
podcasts.
mga
It's
priority
time to
mo.
own it.
When it comes to the family, okay naman, happy ka naman, nawala yung stress mo sa family mo. I think this is a future plan. Okay?
Hello, hello.
Yun yung sabi
Welcome
ng
back
card.
to
This is
Finding
about
the
the
Spirit
future
with
plan.
Tabs. I'm your host,
So, huwag ka
Tabs the
dapat
Cat
nag-worry
Lady,
sa mga
and I'm a psychic
bagay-bagay.
medium here in
Okay? Kailangan lang
Saskatoon,
talaga be
Saskatchewan,
positive and
Canada. On this
optimistic.
show, I share my own
Pagpe-pray mo
personal
lang lahat
journey
yan ha.
into
Hanggat
evidential
mo,
mediumship,
focus ka lang
psychic
sa
work,
future
spirit guides,
plan.
Akashic
Focus for
records,
your invest,
channeling,
focus
and
for your
past life
career.
regressions. I
Bata
like to
pa
consider
ako, si
myself to be
mama
a very
lang,
grounded and
kasi.
practical
Ay
psychic
36 na
medium,
ako, ay
and
8
I
na.
hope through these episodes that you find a
Ay,
grounded and
sabi mo
practical approach
36 ka.
to your own spirituality.
Ano ba talaga?
Alrighty,
Bata
how
pa
has
ako. Si
been?
mama.
Oh my gosh, I'm so
Oh,
excited to
ay
share
nako,
this
Lord.
episode. This comes from
Nalilito
a
ako.
conversation
Akala ko
that I
naman
had
nanay ang
with
kakausap ko,
someone on
bata.
Instagram,
Yan, bata ka
and
pa,
the
hindi mo
story
alam,
that
bata ka
came
pa.
from it
Sige na,
honestly
good luck na ha.
opened the door to I think a much bigger
Sabi ko
conversation.
kanina,
And I
bakit
think a
bata na
lot
sa
of
noo?
people wonder
Matulog ka na,
about
ganitong oras ka,
this.
gising ka pa.
As the title says, we're going to be talking about haunted items. This story is going to include some dolls, a spirit, and setting boundaries. I think a lot of people secretly wonder about haunted objects, dolls, antiques, haunted houses. Today we're going to be discussing this in a pretty grounded and non-scary way. I hope it makes sense for you, and if you've had these experiences, helps you kind of place things together. I don't actually believe that items are haunted. I believe that our thoughts call in spirit and bring them close. And today's story is a perfect example of that, so let's just dive into it.
Uy,
I
matulog ka
want to
na.
start by reading the message that I got
Ganitong oras ang mga
because
bata
I think it's
tulog
going to set
na.
the scene for the entire episode.
Hindi
So this
nagpupuyat ang mga
message
bata.
came from
Natutulog ganitong
Elizabeth, who
oras.
listens all the way from Yuma, Arizona. Hi, Elizabeth. Thanks for letting me share this story, and yeah, really appreciate our conversation. She told me she was at a yard
Thank you
sale
for the
that was
tops, the
raising
screen.
money for a funeral. She found these beautiful porcelain dolls. She's a collector, so she bought a few of them. Later, the family gifted her with a few more. These dolls were passed down through 4 generations within the family, so you can imagine the meaning that was behind them and how important they were to the
Yes.
person who had passed away. And this is really where things started to get interesting. When she took the dolls home, she started to feel like the previous owner was sticking around, like she was coming around, lingering. And we're talking about the woman that had passed. Elizabeth was picking up on shadows. There was also a knocking sound from where the dolls were being stored in her house. She said that was nothing scary. She just felt like someone was
Good
there,
night to
which
you,
is still a little
Vivian.
bit creepy. I mean, she was really good about it, but she just said,
Yes.
why am I feeling this presence? Do you think the spirit is attached to these dolls? And why is she hanging around them so much? Like, I was just trying to piece those puzzle pieces together. And then how did she, I guess, essentially, get rid of this spirit that seemed to be lingering around her? So she was looking for a little bit of validation, but
Bilis ang
also
oras, so 50 minutes na ako
explanation as to
nag-live
what was
dito.
happening and how
Yun.
to
Hi,
get rid
hello.
of
Sino
the energy
nandyan?
that was coming around. And I think this is a common question oftentimes
Magsabi
when
kayo
we
ng
are
yes, Hi,
experiencing
hello.
some sort of
Pwede
energy
kayo magtanong sa
imprint
akin.
or spirit communication that's coming related to an object or a place. It
Ano,
can
hoy
feel a
Karin.
little, I'm going to say, like off-putting. It's kind of like, what is going on? Why is this here? Am I making this stuff up? Is this even possible? And I'm so happy she connected because I could say, yeah, actually, it probably is possible. And here's the best part. I explained to
Okay lang,
her what
ikaw.
was
Kumusta ng
happening. I
araw mo?
explained to her that when she thought of this
Hi, 9 million
woman, or
viewers.
she
Yung mga
looked
hindi
at the
pa ako,
dolls
ano
and
ha.
thought of the story that
Okay.
was related to the woman passing and how important they were, she
Padikit
brought this
naman dyan,
spirit
guys.
instantly into her awareness. So even though she didn't
Yan,
realize it, it was
padikit.
kind of like a calling card or picking up the phone and saying, hey, how are you doing? And the woman would show up. What I had advised to her was clearly tell the woman that you will be taking care of the dolls, that you're going to take good care of them, and that she is free to go visit with her family. So set the energetic boundary and the
Don't forget
energetic
to
tone.
give me a
She
thumbs
did
up.
have another visit a night or so later, I believe, and she did use that exact wording. And she said, as soon as I said it, she just disappeared. She was just gone. And it was amazing because she said it was so immediate. The woman just stepped back.
Ano
This
no?
was earlier
Andro
in the week,
Salazar,
and
no.
she's not even showing up anymore.
Bakit naman no?
Elizabeth, if you're listening, feel free to drop in the comments and share how this has continued to evolve. But I feel like it worked. That's really what we're trying to do.
Yan,
Is
may
just set
bata
that
tulog.
boundary so that
Bakit
this
mga bata
woman
gising
kind
pa?
of
Uy,
leaves.
alam
She
nyo guys,
knows, she
ganitong
trusts
oras,
that
kung yung
Elizabeth's
bata
going to
pa
take
ako,
care of the
7 o'clock lang,
dolls
tulog na kami
and
mga
will
7
go
o'clock
spend
ng
the
gabi.
time with her family.
Kayo
So now I
gising
want
pa
to
kayo.
talk why this actually worked, because you're probably like, oh
O,
yeah,
tapos
okay,
meron mga
Tass,
naka-live
you're
dito
just gonna
is
set
mga
the intention
matatanda
and
na
spirit is
more
going
sa
to
mga
lead.
projects na doon kayo nakikinig
Everything
kayo.
in mediumship, everything
Bawal
in
yung
the
ganun
spirit
ha.
world is all defined
Wala ba mga
by
di
intention.
ba may mga
What
guardian
your
kayo, nanay,
intention
tatay,
is
dapat
will be
pinagbabawal kayo
energy, will be communication.
manood ng
So to me,
YouTube
it
mga
makes
bata.
perfect sense why this would work. But I want to break it down a little bit
Mo,
further.
Cheryl, ano
Spirit
yung
is
mo?
not in objects.
Hi
I don't care
Cheryl
what you Google, I
Patricio.
don't care what you've seen in movies. Spirit does not live in objects. They're not in dolls, they're not in furniture, they're not waiting inside your mirror like a horror movie.
Hi
When
to
someone
Simon.
passes, they're
Shout
free.
out.
They move
Don't forget to give me a
easily.
thumbs up. May tanong
They're
ba kayo
not
guys?
stuck in the physical world.
May mga tanong ba kayo?
So, what is happening then? Why is this showing up? Thought is the
Hi
real
sa inyo.
connector.
Don't forget to...
When you
Pwede
think
kayo
of
mano sa akin ha.
someone in
Check
spirit,
yung video
it's
ko
like I
guys.
said, dialing their number. They
Don't
feel
forget
that
to sub.
pull. They get close. It's your awareness that opens the door, not the object. Let's talk about the emotional side to this. Objects can hold deep meaning, but they don't hold souls.
Oh, ang ganun ba? Deep
Okay,
talagang
souls
boses.
are
Siyempre,
free.
ganun talaga
Some of
mga
them on the other side.
kumakanta.
Dolls that
Okay, ganun
belong
talaga yun
to
na
four generations,
kumakanta ng
of course
mga
they feel emotionally
classic
heavy,
song.
but the meaning is
Classic
going to
song.
be
Ano yung mga
yours.
classic
The
song?
spirit connection is yours,
Oo,
not the
ganun talaga.
dolls, okay?
Very deep talaga yung
The
boses
connection
ko.
is
Lower
coming
tone
from
talaga
your
ako.
emotions
Ano
connecting
problema
with the
doon?
dolls and the people who had owned them previously, and that's what's going to bring spirit close. Spirit works on boundaries. It's very simple. Spirit follows your intention. If you say, no, not at night, they don't come at night. If you say, I'm resting, they step back. If you say these dolls are safe, go be with your family, they will listen. They're not invasive, they're always responding. And I've had proof of how this works many times. If you've
Yeah,
ever
ako meron
listened to
ako
my
mga doll
Shadows
dyan.
podcast episode
Mga
and you've
baby ko
struggled with
yun.
shadows in the dark and you've tried the techniques that I've said, I guarantee that you are not haunted by those shadows anymore. And I've had many, many clients
Sabi
through
naramdam ko sila.
spiritual awakening sessions, the one-on-one mentorships, that we've discussed some of this boundary setting. I meet with them or talk with them a week later, and they're already seeing improvement. So this boundary setting works in many different instances or situations, I guess we could say. Now, this is where I'm going to debunk a big one. We gotta talk about this again. Exorcisms, haunted objects, fear versus reality. And again, I have an episode where I talked about exorcisms. So why do people think objects are haunted? Couple reasons. Movies, media, religion, not knowing how the mind works, and really that's it. Those three things. They've been taught to fear what they don't understand. And I think that that's very normal. It's actually very understandable for me to see that perception now and to understand where it comes from for people. Next, I want to talk about what hauntings and exorcisms really were. 90% of what people thought was paranormal activity, hauntings or exorcisms, was actually showing as trauma, sleep paralysis, which is a very common thing, grief,
Hi, Jeng.
the
So,
nervous
ano
system
to?
freaking out,
Hi, ano po
or
si
sometimes
Jenna
the
Colleen.
imagination filling in the
Hi, Jenna
gaps.
Colleen.
Back then, people didn't have mental health language. Everything became
Umaga.
a demon.
Ang
So what
aga
do
naman
exorcisms
tumilaang tumanog
actually
na to.
do then?
Yung mga
They
manok ko mga
make the
abnormal.
person feel safe. They
Di ba
shift the
tumatila?
mood. They calm the nervous system.
Napaka-advance. Wala
They
pa.
create an intention that
Maaga
says
pa nga.
this energy is not welcome.
Tumitilaog
And so
na.
the person changes, not the spirit. And this ties back perfectly to the story with Elizabeth. She didn't need sage. She didn't need a priest. She didn't need a ritual. She just needed a boundary, a simple intention. And it worked faster than any exorcism story that I've heard. And I want to bring in some teachings from some big authors on this. Dolores Cannon spoke about this. She shared spirits are not stuck. Another author, Michael Newton, he said
Ano daw
souls
tapos
move
kay pa
freely.
Colleen?
Right?
Ano yun?
Exactly what we
What's
discussed.
that?
Alan Kardec, spirits respond to thought. This is something that all mediums understand fully. James Van Praagh, loved ones come through when you think of them. It's something that he teaches all the time. And Carl Jung, I like this one. Objects hold emotion, not entities. And that's why you can pick up an
Okay,
object
guys.
and
So,
feel the emotional
I'll be
energy
back
in it.
tomorrow, ha?
You do not pick up an object and
Okay.
there's the
Tulog na tayo,
grandma
guys, ha?
sitting in the
Bye muna sa
closet.
inyo. Thank you sa
Or
mga
the
thumbs up
charm that you're holding.
nag-sub.
That's just not how it works.
Thank you, guys.
So here's what I
Bye.
want you to take away